ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਧਨਾਸਰੇ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ। ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਰਾਜਨ ਅਰ ਭੂਮਨ, ਤਾਕੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ ਬੂਜੀ। ਲਪਟ ਰਹੇ ਮਾਇਆ ਰੰਗ ਮਾਤੇ, ਲੋਚਨ ਕਛੂ ਨਾ ਸੂਜੀ। ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਰਾਜਨ ਅਰ ਭੂਮਨ, ਤਾਕੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ ਬੂਜੀ। ਲਪਟ ਰਹੇ ਮਾਇਆ ਰੰਗ ਮਾਤੇ, ਲੋਚਨ ਕਛੂ ਨਾ ਸੂਜੀ। ਵਿਖਿਆ ਮਹਿ ਕਿਨਹੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਪਤ ਨਾ ਪਾਈ, ਜੋ ਪਾਵਕ ਈਦਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਧਰਾਪੈ। ਬਿਨ ਹਰ ਕਹਾ ਅਗਾਈ ਰਹਾਉ, ਦਿਨ ਦਿਨ ਕਰਤ ਭੋਜਨ ਬਹੁ ਬਿੰਜਨ। ਤਾਕੀ ਮਿਟੇ ਨਾ ਭੂਖਾ, ਉਦਮ ਕਰੈ ਸਵਾਨ ਕੀ ਨਿਆਈ। ਚਾਰੇ ਕੁੰਟਾ ਘੋਖਾ, ਕਾਮਵੰਤ ਕਾਮੀ ਬਹੁ ਨਾਰੀ। ਪਰ ਗ੍ਰਹਿ ਜੋਹ ਨਾ ਚੂਕੈ, ਦਿਨ ਪ੍ਰਤ ਕਰੈ ਕਰੈ ਪਛਤਾਪੈ। ਸੋਗ ਲੋਭ ਮਹਿ ਸੂਕੈ, ਹਰ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਅਪਾਰ ਅਮੋਲਾ। ਹਰ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਅਪਾਰ ਅਮੋਲਾ, ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਏਕ ਨਿਧਾਨਾ। ਸੂਖ ਸਹਿਜ ਆਨੰਦ ਸੰਤਨ ਕੈ, ਨਾਨਕ ਗੁਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਨਾ। ਹਰ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਅਪਾਰ ਅਮੋਲਾ, ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਏਕ ਨਿਧਾਨਾ। ਸੂਖ ਸਹਿਜ ਆਨੰਦ ਸੰਤਨ ਕੈ, ਨਾਨਕ ਗੁਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਨਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's ਪਾਵਨ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ from Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib is an Ang 672 by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah in Tanasri Raag. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji in today's Hukamnama is warning us about the nature of what we often call desire, what we can also refer to as lust. And what happens is, when we use the word lust, normally what comes to our mind is this sexual lust. But it's very important for us to understand that lust doesn't only mean towards sexual lust. It could be of any form. And when we look into the description of this, what is lust? Lust is described as this force, this psychological force for a desire towards something, towards an item. That could be towards anything. Yes, that lust could be a sexual lust, but it could be towards anything else, any other thing. It could be towards a car, it could be towards a house, it could be towards having a certain status. So it's not just confined to that one aspect. So lust is this natural, this force inside towards a desire towards something. So this is what Satguru Ji Paatshah is talking to us about today. This is what the focus is on, and this is in the list of the Panch Chor, which we can also refer to as the 5 vices. That it's the actual top one, the first one. That's Paatshah Ji referred to as, when they say kaam, that kaam is that lust. So kehinde kaam, krodh and arlobh moh bin sajaye hamev. We see that come up in Sri Sukhmani Sahib as well. So pyareo, let's look at the Sri Hukamnama Sahib. So Satguru Ji Pacha Ji saying to us today, Kende Vadde Vadde Rajan Ar Bhuman. Vadde Vadde, the greatest of Rajan, the greatest of rulers. Rajan meaning kings, Ar Bhuman. And Bhuman comes from the word Bhum, Bhum meaning the Tarti, the earth, land. Bhuman are those that are these great landlords, meaning somebody that owns so much land. Kende vadde vadde rajan ar bhuman taki trishna bhuji. Kende, but even then, even though somebody might be a raja, somebody might be a ruler, kende par fir bhi somebody might have so much land, पर सच्चे पातशाह जी कहने लगे कहते ताकि तृष्ण ना बूझी. Bhuji means something that can extinguish, so meaning something that can be taken away, something that can be switched off. पर पातशाह जी कहने लगे कहते पर तृष्ण ना बूझी, कहते पर this trishna, this burning desire inside, कहते that's still not gone, even though having so much it's still not gone. Why is it that somebody can become a ruler of so much people, ruling over so much people, has got so much power, control, somebody has got so much land, but still, why is it that it's still not going away? Because that's the nature of desire. Desire means want. So if that wasn't there, then it wouldn't mean that. If that want wasn't there, then that it wouldn't even mean desire. So the nature of desire is to want more. Sangaji, once we're satisfied, then that desire isn't there anymore. And looking now further into the Shabad, that the examples that Maharaji use to help us to understand it further, and we'll look at those examples. Paatshah ji kehne lapte rahe maya rang mate. Kende, what happens is, these people, they remain lapata, entangled. Kende rahe maya, in that illusion. Rang, in the love of that maya, of that illusion. Mate means they're intoxicated by it. They can't see anything else other than these. They can't see anything else other than these worldly possessions. And then Paatshah ji kehne lochan kachu na suji. Lochan Sangat ji means eyes. Kachu means anything. Na suji means, even though here it might be translated suji to translate it as they can't see anything else, but what this actually, so when we translate it to lochan kachu na suji, my eyes now see nothing else but all these things that I desire now. And what that means is, so to understand this desire a little bit more, what that means is that my eyes don't see anything else now. So when you're actually desiring something and you want something, it doesn't matter where you go, that's all your eyes will see. So be that now your mind is desiring a particular car, you will now keep seeing that car everywhere. That's all you will see. That's your eyes will make anything, whatever you're looking at, it will create that image inside for you. But what is desire? Desire is, Sangaji, because it can get very confusing for people, because somebody might think, oh, well, obviously, like, then say if I need a car and I need to get from A to B, so for that reason I need to buy a car, and I need to buy the right one because of, I've got children and it needs to be the right one. So what do? Do I get rid of that thought? Obviously not. What this burning desire is in the mind is saying inside that there's an expectation. Remember, what happens is, these things mostly are happening all unconsciously. So because they're happening unconsciously, meaning that we've got no control over it, not to say that the ability of having control isn't there, means that most of us are living without control, and how these burning desires are actually controlling us. So what's happening is, this is all happening psychologically inside. The game is that it's happening unconsciously. So what happens is there's the mind inside, it has got this expectation that when I actually reach, when I obtain what I desire, I will feel satisfied. There's no such thing as feeling satisfaction from receiving and getting to what that desire was, because the whole thing of desire, the nature of desire is that there is no satisfaction in there. Desire is the opposite of being satisfied. So when we're actually allowing desire to take over our mind and it's actually running us, so imagine being in desire. So imagine being, so the example that Sadhguruji Paatji used, what we'll do is we'll get to that part and then we'll combine it all together. That what it means that lochan kachu na suji, that your eyes now see nothing else but that. Then Paatji say to us, kende bikhya meh kin hi tripat na pai. Kende, have you ever come across anyone that kende that bikhya meh, that within consuming poison, imagine now somebody is consuming poison and it's killing them slowly. Kende meh kin hi, kende there's no one, kende tripat na pai, nobody's ever reached that satisfaction, that contentment inside through consuming poison. Bikhya, poison, meaning that when we're living an unrighteous life, it's impossible to actually reach that point. And we can never be satisfied if we're doing unrighteous things. So acting, we're doing sinful things, really lowly actions. And then Paatji say to us, jo pavak idan nahi trappa. So this is that almost, like I always say, that there's no perfect example out there, but this is an example that really helps us to understand what desire is. Kende jo pavak, pavak Sangaji means fire, ag. Kende jo pavak idan, idan translates to that balan, and that balan is whatever, it could be different things. So balan could be wood, balan could be straw, whatever it is that you use to keep that fire going. So Paatji says, kende that pavak, the desire is like that fire. Kende jo pavak idan, kende idan is the wood, so idan is what we are desiring. So the balan, the wood that we put into it, is what we're desiring, those things. So kende idan nahi trappe, kende, but the fire, it's never satisfied. No matter, trappe means to be satisfied, nahi trappe, it doesn't matter how much wood or straw you put into that fire, the fire is never going to be satisfied. The fire is never going to say, bahut ho gaya. That's enough. That fire is never going to say that now that I've received this piece of wood, I'm done. I'm just going to chill out now. That I'm going to actually make, I'm going to now make sure that I switch myself off. नहीं इदा तो हुंदी नहीं. अग ने कदी क्या किसे लक्कड़ नो कि हाँ हुन मैनू तो ऐन हुन रज आ गया है. Now I feel full from inside. Now I'm gonna just wither out and I'm gonna switch myself off. ना अग ने तो कदी क्या नहीं, अग तो होर मचदी पई आ, and the ag starts to go even more crazy. It gets bigger and bigger. So when we're actually living in desire, in that mode, and we keep feeding it, it's not going to go away. We're not going to feel satisfaction. It's going to get bigger and bigger. So what this is, the mind is saying, it's got this expectation. Imagine you're in the fire now, and then in the fire you get to what you want. You get that wood, so you get that car, and you think, Raja aa gaya. This is it. I'm satisfied. No, but you're of course not. You're still in the fire. The nature of the desire is now it wants more. Now it wants more. And so how can we find satisfaction being in there? So unconsciously we're living our life like this. And that's why we're not finding sukh. That's why we're not finding that bliss that we're all after. Living in blissfulness. Sangaji, when we look at, doesn't matter who it is, whoever was enlightened, Even if we look at the Buddha, even Mahatma Buddha said that actually, where is blissfulness? Where is that Anand? He said Anand is the opposite to being in this burning desire. And he said when there's no desire, he says you are in Anand. What is stopping us experiencing Anand? He said that is when you are unconsciously going round and round in circles in this burning fire. ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦਾ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਸੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਿਨ ਹਰ ਕਹਾ ਅਗਾਈ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ without ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ who has ever felt ਅਗਾਈ means full ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਰਿਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਢਿੱਡ ਭਰਿਆ nobody feels inside fulfilled until they have connected with ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ. Think about this yourself ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਕਦੀ ਇੰਜ ਕਦੀ ਹੋਇਆ that you've obtained what you desired. You've obtained that, like somebody might have had this strong desire to have a son in their life, and they get that child and they get that son, and then there was inside this little expectation that you'll feel satisfied, that like I said, these things might not be so obvious to us. And that's why Paatshah ji say to us ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਦੇਈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ keeps giving us ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਥੱਕ ਪਾਹੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ that ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ because this is the way the whole of ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ji's creation works in this system ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਥੱਕ ਪਾਹੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ but the one that is receiving, that one gets tired. And what that means by getting tired is that we're so unconsciously just keep desiring things inside, and then what happens is because we've actually desired it from inside, and it could be very subtle and very deep inside, at some point we will receive it, and once we've received it thak pahe means we might not be able to even take care of it. We might not even be able to handle it. It might be too much for us. And how many times has that happened to someone? It might be that you want more responsibility, you want to reach a certain position, and it's that inner drive and it's that desire, but it's so unconscious, we're not really controlling that desire, we've not become conscious, and then what happens is we get there, we don't realize that it was ਮੇਰੀ ਆਪਦੀ ਹੀ ਮੰਗ ਸੀਗੀ, ਮੇਰੀ ਆਪਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਜਾਗ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਾਮਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕੀਤੀ. So ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, what that means is from inside. And if you're thinking why is he throwing all this fancy Punjabi in, like I said, I do react to the comments that I get. And there was one Penji that actually commented and said, she said, Viji, you know when you just do that little bit of Punjabi, she goes, it just hits the point. So Sangat ji, oh mil gayi cheez, we've got to that position at work, and then what happens is, I remember a similar situation happening with my wife, and I do this all the time to myself. And then you get to that position and you don't realize it straight away. Kuch samay baad, after some time, oh ki wajda andro na banda, you hit this wall. Tha jaake banda vajda ya, par pata nahi lagda usse vele. But what happens is, as you're building up to everything just exploding, you don't realize, because again we're living so unconsciously in our lives. ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ, we read ਬਾਣੀ, ਪਰ ਬਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਸੁੱਤੇ ਪਏ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ. But even that ਬਾਣੀ that we're reading most of the time we're reading asleep, meaning asleep from inside. We're not reading it consciously to say that Guru Sahib ji, you are feeding me. ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਜੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਗ ਕੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੀਏ, if we read ਬਾਣੀ awake from inside, do you think we'll ever need any form of therapy from anyone? Do you think that somebody would ever need to go to a psychologist? No, because ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਆ, ਸਾਡਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਵੈਦ ਆ. Our Guru is the greatest and is the biggest doctor of all. Mera Bad Guru Govinda. Sadhguru Ji Sache Paatshah Ji say that to us. My Guru is the greatest Vad, the greatest doctor of all. So Sadhguru Ji Paatshah kende Mera Bad Guru Govinda. We talk, and these somebody, when we need to go to a psychiatrist, and I'm not saying to anybody not to go, because it's something I've been through myself in my own life, where I've gone through psychiatrists and psychologists. But Sangaji, to these psychotherapists, I've been through it all. And I'm not saying that I won't need to ever go again, because just like Kabir Ji says, you don't know what's going to happen yet in your own life. So main dawa nahi kise gal da karda. I don't say anything with dawa, Sangaji. So here I use this pankti all the time, and that's why I didn't say it. And I thought, Sangat ne kehna bas, he's always on about the same thing. But you know what? Aj ho so now samundar mein kya jana kya hoye. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So Sangaji, I never speak with dawa. I never speak with that surety, because I know that pyareo pata nahi halle ki kuch ho jana ya. So but the thing is, Mera Bad Guru Govinda, but my biggest doctor, and a psychiatrist is a doctor as well. Sangaji, and I can tell you one thing. I remember when I was in India about 3 years ago, and the Sangat there took me to a psychiatrist to tell you my own story. And it was in a really, really high-fly hospital, really posh, It's like, so it's a private, it's like a 5-star. I went there, and this is somebody, remember, that's gone through years and years of education to sit in that place. And I'm not saying, obviously, I've had really good experiences as well with psychologists. But when you sit down, so I sat down with that psychiatrist, the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, by the way, a psychiatrist is a doctor that is qualified to prescribe you medication. A psychologist isn't. So a psychologist is the one that actually goes through they choose a form of therapy for you. A lot of people don't know the difference. That psychiatrist, I think, spent about 2 minutes with me. He's like, yeah, so what do you do? Oh wow, you're a YouTuber, you do talks, asked me these, and I was like, all right, so and I've had a breakdown, whatever. And then I thought we're going to go into some sort of, he's going to try and understand where I'm at mentally. And he just wrote out a prescription within about a few minutes. And I was like, okay. He goes, yeah. He goes, you're going to have to take these. And thank you very much. And I've had this experience with psychiatrists a few times. But yes, there's a time when we might get to that point where there is no other way out. Because now we've got the brain has got to such a point, to such a low level, we're not able to receive any therapy anymore, and we might have to take even a pill to rebalance some of those chemicals so we can even be open to receiving some form of therapy. I'm not in any way, I'm not saying I'm against any of this, but what I am saying is, what I have noticed is, if I've gone through a stage of my life where I'm practicing my Bani ritualistically, where it's just something that I've got to do because it's my religion and it's what I've been told to do, and I've just got to get it done, I can tell you that that's when my mind isn't doing so well. But but the more I read Bani, as like Pachi say, that Bani bidlo bichar si je ko gurmukh hoye. But just like Pacha ji say to us, kende that eh Bani Mahapurkh ki nij ghar vasa hoye, kende Bani bidlo bichar si je ko gurmukh hoye. But Pacha ji saying to us that this Bani, there's only very few that actually bichar this. Bichar this means contemplate the word of the Guru. Kende Bani, kende this, each word of Gurbani is so rich. And if we, and I said yesterday in the Sanskriti sloka tha, I could have just quickly done the next slok. But then I thought that, what I would have done is it would have been like just quickly chewing something and spitting it out. But pyareo Bani vichon ta aapa ras lena ya. When there's some food that we're really enjoying, we want to really, we don't want to just shove it down our throat, do we? then what we want to do is we want to chew it. We want to feel the juice, the ras that comes out of it. And then we want to swallow it slowly when we're getting the full ras out of it. That's why Sache Paatshah say that kende bani bello bichasi je ko gurmukh hoye. Kende that if somebody that wants to become a true gurmukh, that is completely besotted with the guru, then bichar this bani. You know how to actually read this bani? Sache Paatshah ji saying, don't forget, eh bani mahapurkh ki. These words have come from that supreme being, mahapurkh ki. Nij ghar vasa hoye. What we want to do is we want it to dwell deep inside of our house, our heart, our core. Paatshah ji say to us, how do you want to take this bani and how will it then become your therapy? And the truth is, I'm not going to shy away from saying this, the truth is, if we're actually consuming bani like this, then no, we won't need to go anywhere else. That I will say with dawa. Then if we're consuming bani like that, like what? Jinko lagi pyas amrit se khahe. Singh, have you paid attention to this? What Paatshah ji is saying to us here? Paatshah ji is saying to us, jinko lagi, those that feel thirsty, those that feel, what will they do? Amrit se khahe. When you think of amrit, what does your mind think of? It thinks of liquid? Yes. When I think of the word amrit, my mind thinks of liquid. Look at this bani, mind blowing. Paatshah ji kehne jinko lagi pyas. So when you're thirsty, you drink something. When you're thirsty, you don't eat something. It's obvious. So even here, Paatshah is saying, jinko lagi, if you're thirsty now, you drink. So amrit is something you drink, but Paatshah nahi. Amrit se khaye, eat it. Well, that makes no sense, does it? If we think with a logical mind, Paatshah eat that amrit. What does it mean to eat? What amrit? This bani roop amrit. Paatshah eh Pangtiyan bahut hai telling us that this bani is the amrit that we drink. Paatshah ji kehne jinko lagi pyas amrit se khaye. So how do you eat it? Sangat ji, this is how you eat it. That kise mahapurkha ne ede arth kitte. A mahapurkh did an arth of this. Just like Sangat ji, they said that the doctors will tell us the best way to consume food if we want it to digest well. And the saying is, inu 32 ਵਾਰ ਚੱਬਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਕਰਕੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਜੇ ਦੰਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਣ 32 ਦੰਦ ਨੇ 32 ਵਾਰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚੱਬੋ ਤਾਂ ਫੇਰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਵਾਂਗ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਗਾਓ ਤਾਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ. So Sangat ji, that in English now, if you want to eat something and take the full ras out of it and you want it to digest well, then Paatshah ji say to us, when you're taking something solid, if you've got a full set of teeth, this is the saying in Punjabi, you've got 32 teeth if you got full set. They said chew it 32 times, and when it becomes liquid and then you swallow it, see that it was solid but it's become liquid because you're taking the full ras out of it. Sangat ji, in that same way, if you take liquid into your mouth and that liquid is so sweet and it goes into think of your favorite thing. For me, it's gotta be that khande batte da amrit. When that, you can't get enough of it. And any of you that have had the experience, when that actual khande batte da amrit, what that's made out of, that loha, made out of the iron, made out of, Sangat ji, ami niga janam hai. Asal vich, I know, Sangat ji, I'll go off on a tangent, but like, pata nahi Sangat nu ede vichon ki kuch mil jana hai. And we don't know what the Sangat's gonna get from this. This is an actual birth. Pyaro jera batta, you know the batta, the iron is our mother. Mata tart, the iron is our mother. And Sangat ji, it's an actual birth that's taking place. Kende mata tart. And then you got the, Sangat ji, you got the sugar crystals. That's the sweet that is going inside of it. And then Sangat ji, ਉਹ ਆਈ ਆ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਬਾਟਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਪਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ ਆ ਪਾਣੀ ਇਟਸ ਇਨਸਾਈਡ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪੁੱਟ ਵਾਟਰ ਇਨਸਾਈਡ ਉਹ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿਤਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਿਤਾ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ look at this the water inside that bata is our father ਜਨਮ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਆ ਨਾ because we're going to take birth now ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਿਤਾ and then ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ inside of that ਪਾਣੀ what else goes into there ਇੱਥੇ ਪਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪੀਵੋ ਪੌਲ ਖੰਡੇ ਤਾਰ ਹੋਏ ਜਨਮ ਸਹੇਲਾ drinking this you're actually not making your birth just worthy you're actually being born into your true birth the true essence you're going to take birth now ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਿਤਾ ਮਾਤਾ ਧਰਤ but we need now there's something missing we need life we need that breath and what is the breath for us sangat ji is ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ is the guru the Bani that's been read by the Panj Pyare whilst the drishti whilst the eyes the Amrit Roop drishti is looking inside of that bata as they're reading the Bani the energy of the Gur Shabad is going into that and making it into Amrit that is our breath that is our soul Sangat ji this is what this Bani is Pachik kende Amrit se khai when you take that Amrit inside of your mouth when you're enjoying something that is so beautiful and then what do you don't just go you don't just shove it down your throat no you put it into your mouth you leave it in there and kende na lawa chon la piyan and inside that you produce all of that your mouth starts to water you can actually start to feel that vibration and then you swallow it so slowly that it feels like you're actually taking some form of solid down it's like you're now eating something when you take that each gulp so slowly swallowing like that kahe that's how you eat amrit that's how you eat something that is liquid that's what you do with this Bani je ko khave je ko punche tiska hoye udharo this is another Bani sache paach di sadi Bani kende je ko khave if you eat this Bani je ko khave je ko punche then you're able to digest punche means you enjoy it when you're digesting it you'll digest it not if you shove something down your throat but you'll digest it if you take that full ras of it like that and you make this liquid this amrit into that solid for you punche then you're enjoying it you're digesting it this ka hoye udharo they'll be saved so sangat ji Pach ji say to us kende jehdi kende eh appa kende man nahi tekda we say that my mind isn't just coming into my hold ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਨ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਟਿਕਦਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗਿਆਨ ਕਾ ਬੱਦਾ ਮਨ ਰਹੇ ਗੁਰ ਬਿਨ ਗਿਆਨ ਨਾ ਹੋਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੁੰਬੇ ਬੱਦਾ ਜਲ ਰਹਿ ਜਲ ਬਿਨ ਕੁੰਭ ਨਾ ਹੋਏ ਪਾਚ ਜੀ first gives us an example a metaphor ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੁੰਬੇ ਬੱਦਾ ਜਲ ਰਹਿ ਪਾਚ ਜੀ say to us ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you know just like that ਕਹਿੰਦੇ if you want to hold water then you need some sort of pitcher, a glass, a cup or something to hold that water in. Kende kumbe badda jal rahe. You're able to hold that water into place. Kende jal bin kumbh na hoye. Kende but remember that the origin of that cup, that pitcher is water as well. It's been made with water when it's been mixed with that clay. Kende just like that. Sache paat kende gyan ka badda man rahe. What is it? When our mind has gone out of control, when these desires, we're unconsciously going round and round in these desires, what's happening? The mind is now not sadhe vas ch nahi reha. It's not in our control. It's gone out of control. So paach kende how do you bring it back in? Kende gyan ka badda. Kende you bound it, you restrain it with gyan, with wisdom. Kende from who? Kende gyan ka badda man, and that will bound that mind that is out of control in desiring things that we receive and we get tired and we think, oh my God, main ki panga pa liya? What have I ended up doing? Where have I ended up? This isn't what I wanted. Yes, it was. You wanted it, but you don't realize it wasn't what you wanted when you got there, because you can't even handle it now. And desire means now you're not satisfied and you're thinking, I need the next thing now. Maybe if I had Sangaji, it's overcoming and coming conscious and above desires, where we're in control of our life. And then Pachak kende Gurbin Gyan na hoye, without the Guru you cannot have any wisdom. And then, but how will this Bani become our wisdom? The more we understand it, the more that we have that yearning to want our Guru to still our mind, then when we read Gurbani like that, Sangaji, we will start to feel full from inside, satisfied from inside. Those desires will start to ease. Those things, those expectations of something satisfying us will start to ease as well. Sache Pachaji is saying to us here, Kende ke bin har kaha agai, just like Pach kende sacha naam mera adaro, sach naam adar mera jin phukha sab gavaiyan. Sangaji, look up kinni vari padya hai. Look how many times we read this. But have those hungers been appeased? Have they gone? No. Kende par sacha na mera, only when the name of God becomes my support from inside. Kende jin, what will it do for us? Phukha sab gavaiyan. Kende it will take all our hungers away. Kende all that will be gone. Kende kar shant, our mind will become calm. Kar shant sukh man आए वसया जिन इच्छा सब पुजाइयां. Sangaji, when all our now those ichas, those desires haven't, what do they mean fulfilled? It doesn't mean we received them and then we felt satisfied. No, it means now that those burning desires aren't burning me anymore. I've become conscious and I realized what they were actually doing, that I had these expectations, and that's now gone because I've connected to the truth. Now I've connected with that Vaheguruji and with Naam. I've risen above this, and now I will be in control, and only what is essential and what I need I will do that in my life, and I won't have an expectation for that to fulfill me, because I know that nothing worldly can fulfill me. So Sangaji, aao agge turiye. Pacha ji kehne rahao Din din kart bhojan baho binjan. These are different ways Pachaji is saying people are trying to satisfy themselves. Can they each day, Pachaji can they day after day, can they din kart bhojan, can they kar bhojan means they're making different types of food. Baho binjan means can they swadala bhojan. They're trying to make things really tasty, and you might and you could relate to this, that you think, oh man, aaj bahut hi zyada hi kuch swad wali cheez ji karda khan li, and you think that, you know what, I want to eat something really tasty today. But Sangaji, I was talking to my dad yesterday about Bhai Fauja Singh, the runner, and my dad was saying, kende beta, all he eats for the morning, he eats pinni, and then for generally with his roti he just has masran di dal, the yellow dal, and that's what he just eats. So, you know, simple eating, because we start thinking, because it's that desire, we think it's going to satisfy us. But no, the nature of desire is it's never satisfied. That's what desire means. But still that hunger does still not go. We're still thinking, no, I want something even tastier. Oh no, you know, tomorrow we do it all the time at home. We say, well, no, we'll make something really tasty. And then you're making so many efforts to try and take this desire away from yourself. But you're running around like a dog. It's searching in all the four directions. It thinks I'll go and grab something from here, grab something from there, grab something from there. But andro trishna ta uddar hi, it's still burning us from inside. Even though somebody that's kamvant is now, this one is talking about that having that type of lustful being here now, having those sexual desires inside of you. This is what this is talking about. Now, kamavant, kami, the kamavant means the desire, and the kami is the person. Now, the one that is the person that has got the desires inside him. Kende bahu nari, kende even though they've got so many women already, because it was, common for kings to have different multiple women, or it could be that somebody, even now to relate to it, they might be married, they've already got their own wife, and they're already seeing other women on the side. But pachikane par grahe, but still jo na chuke, but it's still not taken away from them. Chuke means it still doesn't leave them at looking. Jo means to look at other people's homes. You're still looking at other men's wives. You're still looking at, but she looks really, look at her personality. You know what? I've messed up with my wife, man. You know what? She looks like she's really cool, man. I reckon I would have been much better off if I had married her. Because she looks really kind of, the perfect person that could have actually pleased me. No, that's that unconscious, desireful mind that is telling you that. It's that thing that you would have got there. Even if you get her, you'll think, oh, nah, it's not what I thought it was. You know what? There's sometimes you think, oh, she's the perfect woman. And then something ends up happening with her in her life. And she ends up having the same kind of traits as what you was trying to think that your wife isn't. You're trying to get away from, because your wife's going to think, oh, you know what? Actually, you know what? I saved myself. This mind is Kamala. It's crazy, Sangat ji. Paach ji thi kehn lage sanu. Where am I? There we go. Par grahe jo na chuke, kende din prat kare pachtape. Then what happens is, kende then you start to regret. Kende din prat, now you're stuck. Now you form these now you've become addicted to so many different things. You've become addicted to having these different relationships. You're addicted to wanting different women all the time. You're addicted to different types of food. Now, kende, you're stuck in this rut now. You're in this cycle now. Kende din prat kare pachtape, little bisram de. Then you say kare pachtape. Now you're doing it and regretting it, but you can't even stop doing it now. What happens is now, because you've realized it's not satisfying you, all these desires that you have even achieved, and then now you start to go into sorrow, because now you think, oh my God, now where shall I go? And now you're stuck, because now your mind doesn't know what else to do. Then it's thinking, well, maybe forget more of it. Lob, and you're getting more, and you're drying yourself out more and more from inside. Har har naam apar amola. Did you know? But this is what you need. This is what you need. You need har har naam. You need that naam from your guru. Living in a discipline, you need rahat, and you need the mantra that given to you by your guru, and reciting that mantra again and again. Har har naam apar amola. That has no limit. It's a value. It cannot be valued. It's priceless, Sangat ji. And then Pacha ji kehne amrit ek nidana. This is the true treasure that we've all been looking for. That true amrit that will connect us to that one. And if we even read Bani in that way, it will actually take us into Simran, in the remembrance of God, and that it will start to satisfy us from inside. Sukh saj anand santan. The sons, santan kya, the saints, they now in sukh, they're in bliss. Bliss is the opposite of these burning desires. So sukh saj anand santan kya nanak gurte jana. This can only be known through the Guru. So Sangat ji, so even though let's go beyond just doing our Bani as a ritual, because it's saying that Amrit can only be known through the Guru, but only if we take full ras out of this, our Guru, feeling the juice of our Guru. Sangat ji, it will all happen for us. So, Sangat ji, how can we actually start to read this Bani as a ritual? Remember, everything comes in stages. It doesn't mean, I say again and again in all my kathas, that it doesn't mean that if for you at the moment it's still a ritual and you need to just get away, you need to just get it done. It doesn't mean you stop doing it, because you don't know when that day is gonna come for when it actually just clicks for you from inside. But how do you get that pyas where you want to connect to your Guru and it goes beyond a ritual? Sangat, first of all, number one, you do sangat of those Gurmukh Pyare, of those beloved Guru de Sikh that are besotted with Gurbani. Being in their presence, their energy will start to rub off on us. That's number one. Number two, if we aren't able to be in their presence, then read the Jivaniya, read the lives of those Gursikhs, like Bhai Sahib Bhai Ranveer Singh, like Baba Nand Singh Ji, like these Mahapurukhs. Read Hukamnama, Raghbir Singh Bir, of how much pyas he had for Bani. So read Hukamnama, it's in English as well. All these different things that when you're amongst that, you can start getting that pyas. When you read Sakhiyan stories, listening to the stories of the Gurus will start to take you to that place and beyond. And the truth is, the more Bani we understand, and making sure we've got enough time allocated for that time we sit down, that will help as well. I'm not saying we need to understand all of Bani, because Gurbani has its own vibration that has an effect on us as well. But Bani tells us the formula within Gurbani to say, to get the full effect, then you need to have that with devotion, with prem. Sit down and read it, and try not to just rip through it, and read it consciously. And even though and have this jar inside, that yearning inside, that I'm gonna look out for how many lines I did understand today, what did stick out for me today in my Nityanem, and then contemplate that. Okay, so that way it won't become a ritual. So even if it was then if somebody reads Japji Sahib or reads Panj Baniya, then even if just one thing stuck out for you, then that can stop it from being just a mere ritual for you, where then afterwards you contemplate that just one pangati. So somebody once said to me, this is one pangati keeps coming out to me, and that was Manne Marg Thak Na Paye. That, when you start to have faith in the Guru, that Thak means that no obstacles will come in your way. Thak means something that blocks your way. And then you start contemplating that afterwards. What was Satguruji saying to me then? You feel it and you become it. So you can take 5 minutes out after your Nityanem, where you deeply take a pangati that stuck out for you. These are all ways that we can connect to the vibration more, and then we can vichar, contemplate this Bani. So Sangat ji, itni ek benti pravan, say to myself every day that, I've got to stick to a target of no longer, if it's a long Hukamnama, then half an hour, if it's a short Hukamnama, then 20 minutes. But obviously I went off on one a bit there about how this Bani, we eat it, and as it goes in, pyar de naal. It's like when we're singing that Bani, take this example, reading those words like that sacha naam mera adharo, sach naam adhar mera, jin ਭੁੱਖਾਂ ਸਭ ਗਵਾਈਆਂ ਕਰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਸੁਖ ਮਨ ਆਏ ਵਸਿਆ ਜਿਨ ਇੱਛਾ ਸਭ ਪੁਜਾਈਆਂ. You can just feel it, reading it in the chal, reading it in that rhythm, reading it with the bisrams, where the pauses come right, emphasizing certain words that go inside of you. You'll start feeling the anand. Those burning desires will start to ease. So look, my favor nahi hatda, I'm still not stopping. Sangat ji, Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki Fateh.